Hello, John Beaudin. Rock History Book, how is everyone? I think most of you, didn't you figure out who I was talking about? One of my favorite artists of all time. Let me just put up this light a little bit. Oops, that's better. That's bright. What the hell? One of my favorite artists of all time, Bruce Hornsby, a man who really changed, and I say this a lot in these videos, changed the trajectory of what I liked in music. And he was almost signed to Windham Hill. And by the way, we'll have clips of Bruce Hornsby on this telecast, so just hang in there. I did 2 interviews with Bruce, so we use things that time hasn't killed. Some of the stuff that he talked about, of course, time has killed. But he was born November 23rd, 1954. He is a good old Southern boy, and learned the right things. One of his first big hits, The Way It Is, was about racism, and he got that out of the way real soon. But the thing about Bruce Hornsby, and he'll tell you this in the clips we're going to play, is he doesn't like staying in the same place. Got itchy feet. You know, you'd think that he would have a formula. And I think for a while he tried the formula. I think for a while after, well, first of all, Every Little Kiss came in at number 72, so it wasn't a hit in the beginning. I've got it right in front of me. The Way It Is came on and hit number 1. It was his only number 1 hit. But I don't think he really cared. I mean, Tupac covered that song. On the Western Skyline followed, which was a great song from the debut album, but it wasn't a hit. It was a mainstream U.S. hit. Mandolin Rain, a number 4 smash, and then Every Little Kiss was released again. The second album was very similar to the first one, Scenes from the South Side. The Valley Road was a hit. Remember where they were all like following each other on the video? A Look Out on Your Window, a song about pollution, a climate change, Defenders of the Flag after that. And then A Night Out in the Town, which showed the beginning of a change for Bruce Hornsby. You could tell that he was really getting itchy feet, and that sweetness, that over melodic feel was still on his album, but things were afoot. And then, of course, Harbor Lights. Oh my God. Jerry Garcia, who of course Bruce Hornsby ended up playing with the Grateful Dead. I think it was like, what did it say here, 100 shows with them. We're going to talk about that in this clips. And Harbor Lights, the title song. Pat Metheny. And then the floodgates opened. He started getting a taste for doing things different. Even by then, I saw him twice in concert. Even by Harbor Lights, you could tell that he was going to go into different directions. And by then I was programming, and going through a really bad breakup of programming smooth jazz, programming new age music, going into smooth jazz. I was kind of sad because I liked new age way more than smooth jazz. But I was doing really well doing it, so I stuck with it. We're going to play some clips. We've got a few people. Hey, Alex Knight, how are you, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving. We just saw Bruce in Boston this week. He played solo and is a virtuoso. He really is. And the thing about Bruce Hornsby, we talk about the hits, but what he did, right, Alex, after the hits is really phenomenal. Like playing with some of the greatest players in the world, getting into those rooms. I mean, remember, he was a studio cat before he had any hits. So he played wacky jazz bits, yeah, plus hits, of course. Harbor Lights, great record. Harbor Lights is probably, it's hard for me. Oops, I forgot, I do this sometimes because I get overly excited. I forget to plug in my microphone. So you probably heard an echo. There, I should be on. There, it says I'm on. Sorry about that, guys. That's professional. What the heck? So, we're going to get into some clips. Like I said, I saw Bruce twice. I interviewed him twice. And we're going to play some of the clips for you. Where do we go first? Oh, we're going to start with my first interview with him, which was the interview for Harbor Lights, where Bruce talks about almost being signed to the Windham Hill label.
Well, it was because I think the Windham Hill thing may have been a little limiting, you know?
I think so.
And they do sort of one thing. Well, I mean, they did then. I kind of branched out a little bit since then.
A little bit.
But
yeah.
Generally at that point, they were trying to really solidify a certain sound that they had. And maybe there was a certain aspect of what I did that fit in with that, but lots of what I did had nothing to do with that. So
was that going to be solo? Was that going to be a vocal album with them? Or did you ever get to that point?
Oh, it was going to be vocal. Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
right?
Oh, it was. Yeah. They started a vocal label. In fact, their best artist to me is a Canadian singer named Jane Siberry.
Yeah.
She's not on their label now.
No.
But she was on her first couple of albums. Were on this label called Open Air, which was a Windham Hill vocal label.
Sub-labels,
yeah. So it was going to be songs. It was going to be a vocal record, a vocal trip. Will Ackerman, he's a good guy, and they were the first people who offered me a record contract. But in the end, I would always wonder if I hadn't gone with a larger label. I would always wonder what could have been, and as it turns out, it went really well.
Notice one thing about that interview. If you know my interview style at all, and this was 1993. If you know my interview style now at all, it's been many, many years. Notice I kept interjecting. Notice that. Big no-no. No one ever told me to do that. I just kind of figured that out by myself. Shut up. Show up for an interview and shut up for an interview. So it's hard for me to listen to myself interviewing other people from the old days because there's part of me that goes, shut up. So there you go. The good thing about Bruce Hornsby, as I mentioned, is the fact that he branched out. Halcyon Days was another. Spirit Trail was one of my favorite albums. The Great Divide, what a great song. Swing Street on Hot House. Halcyon Days, like I said, Absolute Zero is when we started seeing Bruce Hornsby was going to branch out and just be a little bit more avant-garde. Non-Secure Connection was another one like that. And it was just a different, I don't know, it was a different existence for Bruce Hornsby at that point. The Noisemakers albums, the live album. Let me play you a clip. Remember, it was Bruce Hornsby in the Range in the beginning. But then it was Bruce Hornsby and the Noisemakers. There's a great clip on here where he talks, and it's quite funny, where he talks about where he got the name. Let me just find it. Where he got the name for the Noisemakers. Here it is. Check it out.
Here come the Noisemakers?
Yeah.
There was this guy who used to come hear us in our bad old days of playing bars and disco lounges. And, we used to play this biker bar in Virginia Beach, Virginia, called The Cave, and there was this guy named Donnie, real country boy, who was not into our music. We played too much Steely Dan and, Miles Davis for him. He wanted to hear Lynyrd Skynyrd. And so every night when we would walk in, he would always be at the bar, sort of in his cups, and he would derisively hiss, "Here come the Noisemakers." So that was how that came about.
Did you ever do Skynyrd back then?
Hell no, we didn't do Skynyrd. No, we did not do any of that. Give me 3 steps. Ooh, that smell.
In the first interview that I did with Bruce, he mentioned, I was talking to him about Sammy Hagar, not Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth. And I told him we were sitting down, we were in the same room, and I told him, I'm actually quite nervous. And I never get nervous for interviews now. It just never happens. I don't know why, I just don't get nervous. And he says, "Why are you getting nervous?" Well, I said, "I have a friend of mine who just talked to David Lee Roth, and David Lee on LA radio, live on LA radio. And David kind of took the interview over, and he says, F him. That guy's a poser." How refreshing is that? Oh, anyway, hey, Alex. Alex, you're the only one on tonight, it seems. We've got 7 people on. Yeah. Ronnie Parker, hello, John. Happy thanks tomorrow. Yes, of course. Plus a Grateful Dead connection. Yes, Alex. Plus his weird jazz stuff. I mean, Alex, you really know your music, which I really appreciate that about you. The Bride of the Noisemakers, the albums, Here Comes the Noisemakers, and The Way It Is tour, which was actually a radio special. It was a Japanese. But albums that I just love with the Noisemakers: Big Swing Face, Halcyon Days, Levitate, Rehab Reunion. He just had to do, he did things with bluegrass. He branched out and did the piano jazz album, but there was just so much Jack DeShonette jazz. He just couldn't. He was like, "What do I do? What happens if I press this?" And remember, special date, November 23rd, 68 years old. Let's play you another clip from Bruce. I love talking to him. He's such an interesting guy. For the life of me, I can't get an interview with him anymore. I can't see how I'd get in the naughty list for any particular reason. And he talks to channels that are very small sometimes. And I've talked to his manager multiple times, said, let me help you promote the album. We've got 100,000 subscribers. Yeah, we'll get back to you. It never happens. I don't know what it is. If anyone knows the debut album, Down the Road Tonight is a song about a brothel. And it's a famous song off the first album. And I wanted to know, well, what's behind that song?
Is Down the Road Tonight autobiographical? Is it about you guys just being bad back then with the
No, it's autobiographical only in the sense that a place did exist.
Uh-huh.
A little roadside shack where, rumor had it, had women in there turning tricks.
So you didn't really know?
That's what we always heard.
Okay.
And but I never knew for sure. I actually think it was really true.
Mm-hmm.
But we always knew about it.
Yeah, see again, I won't shut up. See, you learn. I don't know how long I'd been in radio. I'd been in radio 10 years at that point. I knew better than, yeah, When I hear people do that now, it drives me freaking crazy. But why, I shouldn't, I should be nicer about it because, like I said, I used to do it. I'm just looking here, Ricky Skaggs, Bruce Hornsby, the album they did together in 2007, Camp Meeting, Christian McBride, Jack DeChanette. They did another one with Ricky Skaggs, did a lot of soundtrack work. The Greatest Hits did really, really well for Bruce Hornsby. I'm enjoying playing these album tracks. He's a god to me. The fact, and there was that time in the mid-90s where he decided to practice for hours every single day. I mean, there's that classic thing with independence drummers have it. One hand is doing something, the other hand is doing something completely different. Let me find that clip for you. I don't have them in order in this here, but I'll find it. Well, let's play these studio musicians and the Grateful Dead track first.
All of a sudden, I start getting all these great calls, and I never had this grand career plan about sort of being the big star. It was always just about playing music with great people and being in getting yourself in inspiring situations. And I was fortunate enough to get all these very flattering calls to work with so many great people, and I just wasn't into turning it down. Mm-hmm. But when the babies came, something had to give. I had to stop doing something. And the collaborations, the gun for hire aspect of my career kind of receded. I gotta say though, it's very inspiring to work with all these people. Playing with the Dead was great. I mean, I just started playing with them. I just came in off the street to Madison Square Garden in New York City and just started winging it with them right off the bat with no rehearsal. They make you very at home. It's really a great crowd of people, mm-hmm. and it's loose as hell. I mean, you can, if you screw up, I mean, you're not going to have somebody just on your case saying, come on, man, get it together. I mean, it's really loose and very sort of forgiving. So, and I sort of knew the territory already. I'd used to play in my older brother's Grateful Dead cover bands as a kid. So I knew lots of their songs already. I mean, I probably didn't know about 100, but I knew about 40. Uh-huh. And so I had a little bit of a head start, and I was always comfortable with it. Right from the very beginning, it will always be a great memory for me having done that time. Garcia called me the floating member.
It kills me and by the way, sorry about the background. I had to re-edit all those videos from a finished video, which is what that means is the video that ends up being on YouTube. And I couldn't find the actual raw interview. I don't know where it is. I'm glad I have this, but I thought, I don't have the raw interview? I have the whole interview, but not the cut clips, if you know what I mean. So anyway, prized possession, when Bruce came into the studio, he signed the first 4 albums. And I have a picture with Bruce. I think I showed it. I don't have my phone here. I think I showed it a few days ago, where we're sitting at the back of a radio station, a famous radio station in Vancouver that I had the honor to work at, called 14C Fun, a legendary station. But in the back there was a hill going from the back door to the parking lot, and Bruce is sitting on the bottom end, and I'm sitting on the top end, and we're basically the same height, and I'm 5'10", and Bruce is 6 something. So I remember one friend looking at it, he says, well, that's not Bruce Hornsby. And Bruce is wearing sunglasses. But I said, I swear to God, I met Bruce Hornsby. Why wouldn't you believe me? I've met a lot of rock stars. This is what I do. But it's strange because we're the same height. And anyway, there you go. Bruce Hornsby, 68 years old, still going strong. His last 3 albums threw me for a loop because I thought, wow, you are avant-garde oh, plenty. A lot of special guests. He had a chance to play with Elton John, who, of course, when The Way It Is came out, he was very, well, Elton John said, well, take a listen to the clip.
Yeah, Elton John had some really nice things to say about, you know, when I first came out, sort of about me bringing the piano back and inspiring him to play the piano again. It's funny. There was a VH1 video channel did an Elton John weekend, and they had this interview segment with him. And one segment had him talking about me. It was very nice things he was saying. And he said, you know, Bruce Hornsby inspired me to play the acoustic piano again. So I saw this and I called him up just to say, you know, what a nice thing you said. Thanks a lot. And he says, well, great, you know, and just for your information, now I'm playing a sampled piano. I'm not.
Is that right?
Yeah, like, yeah, I said it, but I'm not really doing it. You know, I'm not playing acoustic piano. He's playing a sampled instrument now. But Elton has been a real supporter of mine. I've sat in with him before. We did Saturday Night Sorry for Fighting another time at the Garden also, and where we both got down on the floor and played the piano with our feet, and you know.
Is that right?
It was just, yeah, my wife was out in the audience, and it just looked like a couple little kids fooling around in front of 20,000
But having a heck
people.
of a good time.
It's great.
Wow.
He's a good,
I like
really
the
guy.
version of Madman Across the World.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we took it to another place. It's sort of like the jazz version. It's probably the rawest cover on that album. That album is very sort of pop and slickly produced, but our version is just piano, bass, and drums, and it's a little angular, but we were proud of it because I thought we took it to another place, and it's not just sort of a regurgitation of the old version.
That's my all-time favorite Elton album. And
Madman Across the Water is great.
Oh, shut up, John Beaudin. Like, really, I'm listening to that, I'm going, It drives me crazy. But I have to use it because I've only got 2 interviews with Bruce Hornsby. You've noticed one of them is in studio, and the other one is a phoner. The second was the phoner. And I enjoy talking to him, but maybe that's why I'm on the naughty list. I don't think so. A lot of broadcasters, you just want to shake them and say, show up, shut up. And that's what I wish someone would have told me when I was doing these interviews. I'm going, wow. And also, it's a weird night because we're dealing with Thanksgiving. So it's sort of a strange night doing this where I knew my listenerships with this clip would be low tonight. But I wanted to honor Bruce because he meant so much to me. When I saw him in concert, one of the times, Bonnie Raitt opened up. And the famous story for that concert is someone said, show us or take off your top or something like that. Sorry, my ear's ringing. And she stopped the concert and she says, who said that? And she basically, didn't get the guy. I don't think she got the guy removed from the stadium, but she gave him, as they say in the old days, a piece of her mind. But it was quite, I said, good for you, Bonnie. She's not taking that stuff. I don't pay no heed. Play another clip. What do we haven't played? The Show Goes On is a tune from the second album. And I remember thinking, I don't know what this song's about. It's one of the prettiest Bruce Hornsby songs of all time. And by the way, for many, many years, and he'll talk about this, was one of the most requested songs they ever had. And it was not a hit. I don't even think it was released as a single. Let me check. I don't think so. I'm almost positive it wasn't released as a single. No, it was not. Yeah, The Valley Road, Look Out Any Window, Defenders of the Flag were the singles from Scenes from the South Side. 1988, but if you know the song at all, and I love it, it's beautiful, but the lyrics seem tragic. And he tells me, where is it? No, that's The Show Goes On. Let me find it. I hate to do this, but I put them in the wrong order because I had to redo all these. Oh, Show Goes On. Here it is.
Show Goes On. I don't know why, but I've never been able to. What the heck's that about?
No. That's really obtuse for people. A lot of people really like the song. They don't know what the hell it's about. It's about a girl who uses bad judgment. It's about a girl that I, the singer, really like. And I see her falling for the wrong guys who use her. She's on a long list of victims.
Yeah, the man with the long coat, the long list of victims. See, when I heard that the first time, I thought, is he talking about a killer? Is someone going to kill this person?
Yeah, I know a lot of people have thought that. Yeah, and the show is basically she's putting on this show and everyone's just gossiping about her. So that's pretty much what it's about. But it's a little obtuse. I guess it wasn't quite clear enough on that one.
Still one of my faves.
Yeah,
that is a popular song, though, isn't it? That's still a popular requested song, isn't it?
It's a popular request for a song that was not a single.
That's right.
Yeah, actually, but frankly, at this point, we hardly ever get requests for those singles. Mm-hmm. We have a really solid core of people who come to hear us, and they don't care what we play. And that's really people who are there for the right reasons my money.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't want them to come if they just want to hear those old hits again. That feels too much like Dick Clark Presents to me.
Yeah,
and I just refuse to do that.
Well, the first time I saw you, I've seen you 3 times now. The first time I saw you, you did The Way It Is ultra fast. And, in the first 30 seconds, I went, what the heck? And then I got a sense, I was like, oh, this is what he's doing. Okay. Yeah, I can live with this. This works. But, I was caught off guard. As, I remember where I was when I first heard The Way It Is. One of those songs that really changed the way I looked at pop radio. And I thought, oh, it can be more, and we all have songs like that.
Well, you know what? I think we played it too fast because we weren't really getting we couldn't really play the groove of the record too well. Now my band really can.
I cut off my own clip. What the heck? And the music in the background. I don't know what I was thinking. So what I'm going to do is go into the raw file of the original interview, which I've kept. I've got them. They were both on reel to reel when I found them, and basically present them again. So next time, maybe next year, maybe in a few months on our sister channel, we'll present the entire interview. There's some interesting off-the-cuff stuff that we talk about too. He was and still is one of my favorite artists of all time. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody who is talking to us. Oh, Kev Gret. I just saw Bruce Hornsby a week ago, truly an underrated musician. He also said Elton John played piano on track in Dreamland. Yeah. Ronnie Parker. I love The Way It Is and the debut on MTV. I was surprised by the piano. Other than Billy Joel on MTV and the piano playing, I can't really think of anyone else high profile on piano. Kev Gret. Bruce challenges his audience and never plays anything the same way twice. That is the biggest thing about Bruce Hornsby. There's always something different. I used to have so many bootlegs of Bruce. There you go. That's one of my treasured. There you go. That's it. Bruce Hornsby. 4 first albums autographed. You can't really see. I know I've got a lot of little lights around me. I had to do that because of the green screen. I kept having a green halo around me. I know a lot of people don't like green screen, but I enjoy doing it because I like having a background. You don't have to look at my ugly mug all the time. You can check out these beautiful Bruce Hornsby albums. There you go. We've got a few more clips we're going to play. One of the things we need to do when we do one of these live celebratory videos on Rock History Book, which is really a today in history, because if you've been listening, you figured out that the day we record this today is Bruce Hornsby's birthday. Born in Williamsburg, Virginia, son of Robert Stanley Hornsby, who passed away in 1998, was born in 1920, an attorney, real estate developer, and former musician, and Louise Sanier, a piano player, church community liaison, and a local middle school teacher. There you go. And he's 68. Happy birthday to such an amazing human being and a man who talks about climate change in early albums and talks about doing the right thing and racism and the way it is. That's what it's partly what it's about. We've got a few more clips, but when we do these, we need to make them 45 minutes because we also make them a podcast. So we're almost there. What else have we not played? Oh, there's a Phil Collins clip that we have. And we're going to play it now.
A lot of people lose sight of what a great musician Phil Collins is in the face of his enormous sort of pop superstardom. But he is truly, the musicians know. The people might not know, and sometimes these critics kind of jump on him and kind of slag him for being this or that. But the musicians know. That's all I gotta say.
I got to get on there, and he's always had a soft spot for Phil and he loves drummers and has really employed some good drums. John Mollo was his first drummer on the Bruce Hornsby and the Range, and John's an amazing guitarist. I listen to Bruce a lot. He's one of those artists that to this day he's a big part of my week most of the time. But I've got to get another interview with him. I don't know why. I don't think I'm on the bad books because I'm really not that type of broadcaster to be on the bad books. By the way, if anybody knows, I'm backwards on my screen. I got a mole removed, and over here I had a little blemish, and the plastic surgeon said, "Hey, do you want to get that removed for free?" I said, "Sure. Take it all off. Leave the eyeballs in." So let's move in. Make sure we got all our clips. So I didn't add them. I didn't put them all in, the ones that I have, mainly because I was very disappointed with the background music. Phil Collins, we've played Elton John. Floating Musician, The Grateful Dead, we've played the Noisemakers. Almost Signed to Windham Hill. Oh, 2 more clips. This is about people who have covered his songs. I like this clip.
I'm always curious to hear people, to hear covers for the way it is, particularly has been really covered by the hip-hop community.
Oh, yeah. Tupac
Shakur, Mace, and E40 had a hit with a song called Things Will Never Change, which was really the way it is, sideways.
Yeah.
So I love that.
That was the shortest clip I've played in years. So what I was trying to do with Bruce with both interviews, especially the second one, and then later through the interview, I found out that I didn't have as much time as I expected because he was doing many interviews that day. One of the things I try to do when I do an interview is say, even though you're going to get your subject tired because he's done a few interviews, I try to get the last interview of the day. I challenge myself. I'm going to try to send this guy as many interesting questions as I can so that he'll go, I want to spend an extra 15 minutes with that guy. It doesn't always work, but it works. Sometimes it's worked with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. It's worked with Jason Scheff. Graham Goebel always gives long interviews. Davy Johnston of the Elton John band. There's just a lot of people. Ray Williams, who introduced Elton John to Bernie Taupin. Now and then you'll get that. I haven't had that yet with Bruce Hornsby. But if you can connect with them on a human level when you're talking to them and not do what I did with these interviews, because I keep going, tell me more, blah, 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 and interrupting them and just kind of showing off my knowledge because I was too young to realize that you don't do that. That's stupid, right? But at the time, what was I, 33? I think I was 33. And I should have known better. I'm 62 now, so it's many years ago. But just as a preface, it's important for me to say that there's part of me listening to old interviews, and that's why I don't release a lot of old interviews, because I'm kind of embarrassed by them. Because I don't do that stuff anymore. And I yell at people who do that now. I'll go, "What are you doing? Shut up!" And whenever I listen to an old interview, I'm humbled by the fact that I used to do that too. Ronnie Parker, I love the way it is in the debut. Oh, I saw that. Kev Gret, Bruce challenges his audience and never plays anything the same way twice. Yeah, we read that already. Thank you. And that's one of the things you got to love about him. I think I've got one more clip. Yeah, I think I've got one more. We're going to play. Oh, this is about musicians taking requests. I don't think we've played this yet. And again, let me say I'm sorry about the background noise. Actually, when I was clipping this, I couldn't hear it on my MacBook because with MacBook, you're dealing with the small speakers. I'd forgotten that I did that when I originally released it. So here's taking requests.
Well, the fact that, I like you did that when you were here too. You take requests, and I don't know why more people don't do that, but you take requests. That's kind of like the good old days of doing a concert, you're connected to the audience.
Well, I think most people don't take requests because they're not loose as musicians. They're not ready to just go anywhere. They have a very strict set list, that have lighting cues that need to be hit every night. It's much more of a show, much more formal an approach. And our approach is completely not that. It's really informal, and mind you, it leads us into some places that we sometimes wish we hadn't gone when we try to just wing a song we've never played before. But I think the audience really likes to see someone up there really trying to do something new in the moment in front of their eyes, rather than the nice, safe thing. I think some audiences like that. Other audiences want to hear it just like the record, but those people should not come to see us because we're not playing for them.
Now, isn't that interesting that he would actually admit that, say that out loud, because he does not do. I mean, he'll break into The Way It Is sometimes and do it just kind of the way it is on the record, but maybe for 10 seconds. When I saw him the first time, there was 2 real concerts. The third one was a showcase, and I was in a studio, and it was a little different. It was only a few songs, so technically I saw him twice. But he just doesn't stick to a script that we're all used to. And when you look at bluegrass and touching on some country, I asked him if he listened to radio in one of the clips. I didn't include it in this. I asked him, do you listen to radio? And he said, well, some, a little bit here and there. Let me see if I might be able to find the clip and actually put it on. I can't find it. Got some comments. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Alex Knight, the floating member of the dead. Yeah. Isn't that interesting, huh? Alex, are you on water? I see you posting pictures. Is your backyard on water? Because I always see water, it seems, in some of your pictures. And if you have, well, let me just say you've done incredibly well in your life, because that's the coolest thing in the world. Alex, I met through Elton John, through the Elton John people and the Toto people. Toto, I think it was. And Alex has a wonderful family and is a big supporter of our channel. And Alex, I appreciate you an awful lot, and it's nice that you come on our feeds a lot. He is very tall. Yes, he is, isn't he? Yeah, that's why the picture I took with him. I wish I had my phone. I'd show you. No, it's in the other room. Maybe. Hold on. I got to show you this picture. It's crazy. I've got Facebook on here, so I hope I don't lose it. That I have this picture with Bruce Hornsby, and this won't help anybody who's going to listen to the podcast later, but let me see if I can find it. It's worth it, really. It's truly worth it. Oh, God. John Beaudin, Bruce Hornsby. If I do that, you'll see it. And you'll go, how can John Beaudin be the same height as Bruce Hornsby? And we're in the shade. And the shade, it's just the worst possible situation. But, if anybody doesn't believe me, I always go, first of all, why wouldn't you believe me? What kind of, who does that? And, hold on, I'll find it. Come on, it's got to be here. Oh, it's so weird that I can't find it. Oh, here it is. I found it. Look at this. Now, this is the worst case scenario of taking a picture with an artist. I'm lighter than it seems, but I'm almost the same height as Bruce Hornsby. We're in the back. We've just done the interview. I'm in the shade. He's not. We're the same height. He's wearing sunglasses. What the hell? And if I lighten myself up too much, look how thin I was back then. God, I wish I was that thin now. Tiny little guy. I was going through a breakup. It was the worst breakup of my life. I was just licking the floor with pain, man. Oh, I got to find my comments again. It was not a good situation. I thought I was going to die. I was so thin. Here, I found myself again. Teddy Bates. Hey, Teddy. Nice to have you on here. Bruce Hornsby is a legend. Greetings from Edmonton. Dwayne Latka. We're moving to Edmonton next year. Did you know that? Bruce Hornsby is awesome. Yeah, Dwayne, we're moving back to Edmonton in May of next year for family. We have to, because we moved here for family, but my mom's okay. My brother looks after her. And now we're moving across the country because some family there need us to help out. And so we're going to do that. So, Dwayne, we can hang out. Bruce and Elton are a cool combo. Yeah. Dreamland. Remember when they played Dreamland? Elton's using that lower voice on that, but it sounds so incredible. And I know it was a dream come true, and he's played with Elton a few times. For anyone who might have missed it, let me just play the Elton clip one more time. It's kind of funny. It's here it is.
Yeah, Elton John had some really nice things to say about, you know, when I first came out, sort of about me bringing the piano back and inspiring him to play the piano again. It's funny. There was a VH1 video channel did an Elton John weekend, and they had this interview segment with him. And one segment had him talking about me. It was very nice things he was saying. And he said, you know, Bruce Hornsby inspired me to play the acoustic piano again. So I saw this and I called him up just to say, you know, what a nice thing you said. Thanks a lot. And he says, well, great, you know, and just for your information, now I'm playing a sampled piano. I'm not.
Is that right?
Yeah, I said it, but I'm not really doing it. You know, I'm not playing acoustic piano. He's playing a sampled instrument now. But Elton has been a real supporter of mine. I've sat in with him before. We did Saturday Night It's All Right for Fighting another time at the Garden also, and where we both got down on the floor and played the piano with our feet, and you know.
Is that right?
It was just, my wife was out in the audience, and it just looked like a couple little kids fooling around in front of 20,000 people.
But having a heck of a good time.
It's great.
Wow.
He's a good,
I like
really
the
guy.
version of Madman Across the
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we took it to another place. It's sort of like the jazz version. It's probably the rawest cover on that album. That album is very sort of pop and slickly produced, but our version is just piano, bass, and drums, and it's a little angular, but we were proud of it because I thought we took it to another place, and it's not just sort of a regurgitation of the old version.
That's my all-time favorite Elton album. And
Madman Across the Water is great.
Look at my voice is so. I'm a little more whiskey soaked now than I was in 1993. That was a studio one. So that was 1993 for Harbor Lights. That's why he signed 4 albums, because we were up to Harbor Lights. That's the last time I actually. See, there you go. Oh, just such a fan. By the way It Is was released April 1st, 1986. Didn't kick right away. The first, it's interesting how these kind of things happen sometimes with Every Little Kiss was released, but it only made it to number 72 on the charts. Number 18 on the mainstream charts, number 37 on the US AC charts, which is weird when you think of it. Every Little Kiss not hitting? How can that be? But that's the way it was. And it went 3 times platinum in the US, the album The Way It Is. There's 2 different covers of the album. I've got both covers on vinyl. A lot of collectors like having both. And it's just a thing for me. Scenes from the South Side, the second album, released May 3rd, 1988. And it went in the UK gold, and it went platinum in the US. And Night on the Town, the third one, Sean Colvin was on that album. That one went silver in the UK and gold in the US. They didn't add Canadian charts on there. I'm not sure why, but they don't always do that. But, man, changed my life. Going through a divorce in 1986, really going through it in 87, having the first 2 albums, driving a 1986 Gold Fiero, that putting both kids, the things you do when you're in your mid-20s, putting both kids in the front seat, because if anyone knows a Fiero, they know that, there's only 2 seats in that car. I did like that car a lot, though. It was a standard. So, Dwayne, yes, I'm moving to Edmonton. I think we're going to wrap things up. Thank you, especially to our American friends who came on and spent a little time with us. I spent like 3 hours putting this one together. Usually it's not that long. Usually if I do a rock history book video, it's someone that I know, but I knew this one. The problem with this one, with Bruce Hornsby, because I'm well-versed in his music, is the clips. First of all, I couldn't find the individual clips. I'm going, I have a NAS, with all the hard drives in it. And for whatever reason, this huge NAS did not have the clips on it. So I started to panic a little bit. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for indulging me. I wish there was a way I could press a button and someone could come on. I know there's ways of doing that, of bringing people on in certain capacities. We're going to work on that because I'd like for this to be sort of a call-in thing. Teddy Bates, John, were you ever on in New York City? No, never were. There's a station in Arizona that used to play my show called the Cross Canada Report. I'm not sure why they took it. I used to syndicate a radio show across the country, but that's in Canada. It was heard on 42 stations. I keep forgetting how many stations. It was pretty good. We couldn't get Toronto, though, so eventually we had to quit the show because I was too much of a young broadcaster. The information was good, but I was still pretty green. As you can tell, and this was years after that I did Bruce Hornsby. So there you go. Thank you. Have a really nice Thanksgiving long weekend. Please stay safe. And we'll be on if anything breaks. We'll just be on. We'll come on, whether it's a holiday or not. That's just the kind of show we do. Take good care of yourself. Remember the 2 Ps. If you want to sponsor us, if you want to make a donation, you can make a donation via PayPal. The links are in the description. Or join our Patreon. You'll get early access to our videos. Please like our videos. We got 4 likes tonight. But I know there's not on a night like tonight with a long weekend, it's not a heavy viewership sort of thing. I'm scratching my leg down here. That's what I'm doing. But please like our video, share our video to anyone you know who's a Bruce Hornsby fanatic. They'll probably appreciate the interview clips, and subscribe to our channel. Make a comment. Take care.